Hey guys, we are closing in on this year's World's Strongest Man contest, and you may have already seen I've done a couple of videos already on the two favourites, or the two people I believe are the favourites for this year's contest, Brian Shaw and Mateusz Kiliaszkowski. Both of them, everyone talks about them as the two big names this year. We no longer have Thor Bjornsson coming back. We don't have Martin Zlissis coming back to defend his title. So I wanted to do another video on the rest, the best of the rest, and also who I believe is the number one out of this group that could get onto the podium and maybe even push to take the win. So despite what people have been saying online, it's still a really stacked contest this year. We have a load of big names, and some of the guys people are talking about include Bobby Thompson, Evan Singleton, Trey Mitchell, Janasha, Shivlakov, the Stoltmans, Bish, Luke Richardson, Novikov. The list goes on of incredible athletes that will be competing at this year's World's Strongest Man. But one guy I believe that is going to rise above the rest is JF Caron. JF Caron for the last 4 years, I believe, has been in the top 5 at World's Strongest Man. He's there or thereabouts. His consistency is second to none, really. You know, he manages to perform well every time you see him compete. He is a little bit older. He's suffered a few injuries in some shows, but for the majority of his career, he's done extremely well. He's won many, many international shows. I believe he's a 9-time Canada's Strongest Man, and he has a number of exceptional events, and they just so happen to be some of the events that are in the final this year. Now, everyone's going to have their own opinion on this, and please, by all means, guys, comment with who you believe is going to be a contender this year. But I'm going to give you the reasons I believe JF has such a great chance. So firstly, let's take a look at JF's history at World's Strongest Man. So we've got to go back to 2012 for the first time he was in the final, and he came 8th. 2013, he didn't compete. 2014 he was 11th, 2015 he was 6th, 2016 he was 5th, 2017 he was 5th, 2018 he was 5th, and last year he came 4th. His consistency has been incredible, and he's just slowly climbing up the podium spots. And you've got to remember, 2 of the guys that beat him last year are out of this year's show. So the only person that beat him at last year's World's Strongest Man is Kiliaszkowski. So let's take a look at the events. The first event in the final this year is going to be the yoke into farmers walk medley, or perhaps farmers into yoke. I'm not sure which order it's going to be, but yoke into farmers. 2 events that he's not notoriously the best at. He tends to place mid-table on these type of events in big contests. Out of all the events this year, I think probably this will be his worst of the 6 events in the final. He has some excellent events coming up, but this event is the one. It's going to be damage control for him. He needs to make sure he's in that mid-table spot if he's going to have a chance to go on and really challenge for the title. The next event, however, is an exceptionally good one for him. It's the 18-inch deadlift for max, and notoriously, when it's come to deadlift for max contests, whether it be World's Strongest Man, the Arnold's, World Ultimate Strongman, he's always there or thereabouts near the top. So just going back to this year's Arnold Classic, JF was second on the deadlift, but only behind Thor Bjornsson. He's been second or first. I think he was joint first at the World Ultimate Strongman in 2018 when they did the deadlift for max. It's an event he constantly performs well at, and I actually feel the elevated height is going to suit him even more. He's just got a back of iron. He's, you know, he constantly performs so well in these type of events. I really cannot see him any lower than second, really, on this type of event. It's first or second, it's his event. And we always talk about athletes that, you know, it depends who gets to the final sometimes, but I just can't see that many huge deadlifters that could challenge him. There's the likes of Adam Bishop, who's getting really good from this height, Luke Richardson, but none of them have managed to top him in a contest so far. And again, they've still got to make the final. So it's going to be an interesting one, but he's proved it time and time again. I feel with the deadlift, it's going to be big points for JF. So event number 3, another really, really good event for JF, is the Hercules Hold. He's someone that has an exceptional grip. And last year at World's Strongest Man, when it came to the car hold, or the deadlift hold with the car, he came 3rd. Now, I actually thought he'd do better than 3rd last year. But the only 2 people that beat him were the two guys that aren't competing this year, Thor Bjornsson and last year's winner, Martins Lissis. So out of everyone that's competing this year, JF's grip was the strongest. You know, guys like Mark Felix, maybe you can put him into the argument of the best guys with the grip, but Mark has to make the final. And Mark's, you know, he's not going to challenge enough on other events to really challenge for the title. So I think out of consistent performers, JF's grip is right up there, and he's going to be scoring big points again. So another potential Achilles heel, and again, it's an event that he has really improved over the years. Originally, when JF came onto the scene, his pressing wasn't so good, but over the years, it's got better and better and better. He's put 200 kilos overhead now. He's a consistent performer. I don't expect him to threaten the likes of a Luke Stoltman or maybe a Graham Hicks if he can get into the final. But with his experience, his competitiveness, he understands it being a log medley, it's not just about having the strongest shoulders. You've got to have that transition and be quick between each implement. And again, I think it's an event, if he comes mid-table, somewhere around there, with his exceptional events, he's going to keep himself in contention and score good points. So the next event is the keg toss, and throwing is always an event that's a very tricky one to get right, because it's very easy for guys to make a mistake. But saying that, JF has good results on keg toss or throwing events in general. At the Arnold's just this year, he placed third on the weight for height, and that was behind Shivlikov, who's an exceptional thrower, and obviously Thor, who's halfway up there anyway, and one of the best throwers we've ever seen in the strongman sport. JF's throwing performances in general are always consistent, and one thing that I think that's an important factor when picking out people you think can do well in shows, particularly shows like World's Strongest Man, are guys that can stay calm under pressure. And I think the experience that he's got, the fact that there's no huge expectation on JF, you know, people aren't talking about him. People are talking about a lot of the new up-and-coming youngsters. I still feel JF is more than capable of performing at his highest level, and I really feel that experience that he's got will come in very, very useful this year. The last event is the Atlas Stones, and again, with Atlas Stones, you've probably heard me say this thousands of times by now, but it all comes down to position you're in the show. Now, every single one of the athletes that is in the final is a very good stone lifter on their day. And you'll see them, if you go look back at results, you'll see some shows where one guy can be first on the stones, the next show he could be eighth. And it all comes down to where they're placed and how much motivation they have left to challenge for that title spot. If they've drifted down the table and their bodies are hurting, they're feeling sore, they've already gone through 5 or 6 events in the heats, 5 events in the final, their bodies are battered. It's quite a short, condensed show as well this year. The Worlds is only over a few days, whereas in the past it was over a much longer period. So they're going to be really, really feeling it by this point, and you've got to be in a good position to want to keep fighting and keep pushing. And I believe if he's done well over the other events, he's still going to be in there fighting for that podium, potentially even higher. So JF is more than capable. He's one of the few guys that at the World Ultimate Strongman, when they did the 10 stone run, he managed to finish the 10 stones along with the 2 Stoltman brothers and I believe Brian Shaw. So, there's some incredible stone lifters in this show, but he's proven before that he's a more than capable stone lifter. So there you go. That's my reasons why I think JF has such a good chance this year. He's been very, very quiet. People don't talk about him ever, which always amazes me because he is such a talented athlete. And as I've already said, we've seen the performances time and time again over the years. 9 times Canada's Strongest Man. He's won countless international shows, and he's been top 5 at World's Strongest Man 4 times, the last 4 years in a row. His performance keep creeping up. He's getting closer and closer to that podium. I believe if he's got a chance, it's going to be this year. Let me know who you think is going to be a threat. Like I said, we've got so many big names, but don't just tell me who you think will win. Tell me the reasons why. Tell me how you think they'll do on each event. Break it down. Let me know your thoughts, and it's going to be an exciting show. I cannot wait to watch it. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.